right here. Okay, so I've got something for you. I've got a new health term. This is the health term you should consider for 2026, and I'm pretty sure I'm creating it. If not, it's been created by somebody else, but I looked it up. So it's astrocytic calcium fluctuation variability, all right? And it's analogous to heart rate variability. So when you, say, do breath work, over time, that's going to tend to cause an anti-inflammatory response by these things called astrocytes, not sure how to pronounce that yet, on your brain. Breathing turns your parasympathetic nervous system up, which tends to calm down your sympathetic system. 20 minutes. 4 to 12 hours, I don't remember the exact times of working on this, but 4 to 12 hours later, you start to get a different phenotype expression, A1 versus A2. A1, inflammatory response, A2, anti-inflammatory response. It's analogous to sympathetic and parasympathetic. Neither one is good or bad. Too much of one is bad. So for example, you get hit in the head, you want an inflammation response. That is a natural response. Sustained stress makes you less responsive. So right now, this physical shaking actually is a version of stimulating astrocyte calcium fluctuations, which tends to help turn on A2 dominance, right? So really, shaking makes your brain more resilient. That maybe should be the catchphrase. And it does it in a very simple way. And in fact, it's a profound way in the sense that at the cellular level, cells work on noise. And in fact, more noise generally means a healthier system. Noise in a system helps a system avoid rapid feedback, either positive or negative. So noise is essential. Your body's response to noise is important. Heart rate variability is a form of noise, as is the fluctuation of calcium, astrocyte calcium, or I'll get it. I'll eventually get the terminology. When I said I just created it like 10 minutes ago, my brain is on fire right now, and I'm shaking just to calm down enough so I can actually stretch, because I've been, for the last 3 hours, I've been doing a whole bunch of research. Anyway, I'm rambling. Astrocyte form a protective layer on the top of neurons. They're star-shaped. They do a number of things. As again, they can have an inflammation response or a repair response. Inflammation response or a relaxing response. They can consume or give resources. But eventually, much like the second response, the second reflex response in deep flexibility, when you start to stress the muscles, I don't remember the names of the fibers, but there are fibers in the ligaments that can measure and are worried about whether you're about to tear them. And when they do, the muscle just turns off. This does the same thing. So if there's too much going on in your brain, they stop it. That's an A1 response. So by practicing regular breath work, shaking, qigong, intentional movement, yoga, you're increasing your brain resilience directly, structurally. And long-term, 8 to 12 weeks of, say, intentional movement, you'll start to notice structural changes in the brain typically. And also, you're giving your neurons something to do. So, right here, shaking is really good for you. Also, this is a physical activity. There's more to be done with this if you add breath and body work. But just the physical shaking is really good. So someone recently asked me, are you getting benefit from a recliner? 100%. Not the full benefit of adding in breath work and so on, but you're getting a lot of benefit. So if all you got time to do is a little bit of shaking, shake. Okay, now, speaking of which, because I need to get to sleep for work, but I still want to do some stuff, I'm going to jump in and do a few things. I'm going to do the neck isometrics instead of the rest of the warm-up, and then I'm going to stretch. So, and I'm just going to do this counting by hand. I'll go through and talk about what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do this without all the rest of the warm-up, and I'm curious, I'm wondering how well I'll be able to engage my core. So, isometrics, neck. This is also a light form of PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. That is, squeeze and relax. Trigger point massage also works in a similar way. So I'm going to push, that's going to tighten this muscle here. If I can relax my body and engage my core, I might get my interstitial muscles, my transabdominals, and so on and so forth. But even if I don't do that, I'm going to get my trap. If I get my trap, how many of you have tension in your trap? We all do. So just pushing on your head and doing nothing else is great. Adding in, say, your torso and relaxing the opposite side, even better. Adding in the feet, the knees, the legs, and engaging the whole core, super. But if you got time for one thing, here we go. So I'm going to talk through this. Feet parallel, knees bent. I'm relaxing my sacrum down. Let's see. There, oh, yeah, that's nice. Now, I actually pushed it down instead of relaxing it down. So when I do that, I feel the pressure in my heels. I'm going to come back up again here. Again, I'm going to attempt to relax. And now I do feel more weight in my heels, but also the arches of my feet. So it feels deeper when I'm able to relax. I'm going to relax my left side, and I'm going to start pressing, and then when I do, I'm going to just, in my head, count to 30. So here we go. I'm also pushing my fontanelle up, and when I do that and relax my left side, I'm feeling it about mid the back of my rib cage. So about here. And relax. So that's pretty good. I didn't necessarily need to do all the warming up to still have a really good stretch there. So again, if you're just looking for building up some neck strength, this is a good way to do it. So again, feet parallel, knees slightly bent. I'm going to close my eyes for a second, feel my sacrum so that I can't relax without actually concentrating inward. Maybe you're able to do, but I need to sort of focus it for a second. Okay, here we go. Front and back, same thing. Now, I do the back last because the back is the one where I'm able to get the most engagement, and so I use the other ones as warm-up. Whichever one you do last, generally, you're going to get the best engagement on, and I find the front awkward, but still useful. So, feet parallel, knees bent, kitty at the feet, relax the sacrum, push the head up, fontanelle, and here we go. Shoulders down. If you can, I'm actively pulling my shoulders down as I actively push my fontanelle up. Now I'm actively pushing my sacrum down as opposed to relax, because I'm turning this I'm engaging my entire core as much as I can. Rick, my Tai Chi master, was asking me about feeling chi. And I keep telling him I don't feel chi, I don't feel energy. But like right now, my body is hot. I can feel the surface of my skin starting to sweat. And I was like, yeah, I can feel those physical things. I can feel my tendons. It's like, well, that's chi. It's like, well, is that chi really? I don't know. That's all it is. I've been feeling it for years. But I will say, the more I work on flexibility, the more I'm able to feel throughout my body. And so by stretching your body with deep flexibility and reducing your resting tension, it increases your ability to read your body in a big way. Okay, now I'm above the atlas. I'm going to push the head up, but really on this one, I'm be really careful what your neck feels like. This should not feel at all bad. So shoulders down, head up. I am actively pushing my sacrum down. I can feel weight in my heels. I'm not counting at all, but that's fine. And also, my hip flexors are engaged. Now, interestingly, the tendon on the back of my right leg, I don't know the tendon's names well enough, is pulling a little bit, so let me adjust. There we go. I just straighten my legs just a touch. And I'm going to relax. Whew. This definitely turns your body temperature up. So if you're cold, compress your spine. Okay, last one. Here we go. And push it up. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to do a bit of a forward fold to allow my spine to sort of relax. I had glitter on my leg. Come here, where you at? Okay, onward to stretching. Go ahead and just do a couple of things real quick before going to bed. By the way, these are some of the scars from the cat attack a couple weeks ago. My thumb is doing pretty well, but still, long pole. All right. Now, for this pose, I'm going to do this twice, once on each side. If you happen, okay, there we go. If you happen to be tight on one side, maybe you do one side for 3 minutes, the other side for 4 minutes. But an important thing, do both sides. Don't avoid a side. It's hard to get to balance if you do a practice that is inherently imbalanced. So for example, if you are into a particular, like a racket sport, and say you're right-handed, so your right side is tighter, stretch your left side too, but stretch your right side longer. Don't avoid. Just stretch it longer. Knee bent. By doing this, I'm going to get back into the calf muscle a little bit more. Now, I'm going to take this out at the end and really stretch, but this is a nice little hack, and it does not reduce the depth, the deepness of the stretch at all. It does focus it on the muscle belly. That's great. This is because I bruised my heel. So use lots of props. And here we go. I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. Oops. So when we stretch, we're relaxing these fibers called sarcomeres in the muscle. Sarcomeres are either on or off. I don't know how many sarcomeres there are, but let's say you've got 1,000 sarcomeres. Your ability to get those to fire simultaneous allows you to more effectively do strength stuff. So power builders work on getting more of their muscle fibers to work at the same time rather than emphasizing building muscle fibers. They certainly build muscle fibers, but they're looking for efficiency of expression first and bulk after. The reason I mention this is when you stretch, first of all, since stretching is the opposite, it's much easier to increase your flexibility through relaxation rather than through strength. That's one thing. Another thing is, when you stretch, you're stretching the sarcomeres that are getting stretched. You're probably not stretching the entire muscle. So very gentle side-to-side motion might help you get a better overall stretch across more of the fibers of the muscle. Another good hack. Right now, my belly is touching my left thigh. So if I take in a big breath, expand my diaphragm deeply, and then relax, I'm moving a little bit, and I'm going to get a little bit of adjustment in the stretch. So use what you're doing as part of what you're doing. So breath is integral. And when I say that, yes, you have to breathe, but you can also use the physicality of your breath as part of the expression of your stretch. In any case, sarcomeres have sensors on them. If you go too fast or too far, you get a reflex response. They stop things from happening. They inhibit behavior. Astrocytes in the brain do the same thing. And in fact, the exercise that we're doing both increases the resiliency of your muscles as well as increases the resiliency of your brain by strengthening your astrocytes and generally emphasizing or changing their expression from A1 inflammation mode to A2 or relaxation mode, akin to sympathetic and parasympathetic. A1 sympathetic, A2 parasympathetic. So deep flexibility helps neuroplasticity and also neurostability and your ability to stay in concentration. An astrocyte, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sure I'm not, can actually inhibit neuron firing in the case of too much firing going on. So much like the flex response can inhibit you stretching, you can also have neurons that are overfiring be suppressed. But they can also be supported. That's what astrocyte is. So it's a similar mechanism, but parallel evolution in the body. Okay, at this point, I've almost got my shoulder on my knee, so I'm going to go take the pillow out. I'm not going to actively stretch my knee. If it happens, it happens. I'm just going to let gravity in my body do whatever it does. Yoga, I used to do a counter pose to this pose, and that is flipping over. So I'm not going to actually time this. I'm just going to do this as a reset. And I'm trying to get myself really turned, rotated, and then reach over and grab my tip. What I did to it. I don't think it's plantar fasciitis, or is that what it's called? I think actually I bruised my heel, and I'm pretty certain I did it from side splits. So here's the problem with deep flexibility training. If you do it really well, you turn off your nervous system essentially. Not completely off, but substantially. So what happens is you don't feel pain. And that's one of the primary reasons why you do not do any kind of really, for example, don't do any kind of weight training after this kind of stretch. Don't go jogging. Walking is fine. Body, weight stuff, maybe okay. Like I can do Tai Chi after deep flexibility. I don't, but I could. Don't very often, I should say. I have. Because I can tell you that my
left calf is definitely in a good way destabilized. But so anyway, if you do this long enough, there's a couple of threads coming in my mind. First of all, there's the notion of resilience, and I bring this up because it's actually related. So you're sitting in discomfort, practicing sitting in discomfort and telling your autonomic system, yes, I'm in discomfort, but my breath, by me controlling my breath, I'm telling my autonomic system, this is okay. So living and sitting in discomfort reduces your responsiveness and increases your resilience. But guess what? Every solution introduces a problem. This is Jerry Weinberg. The problem with that, and it's not a problem, but it's something you need to be aware of, is you can turn off your system enough that you can do damage. So you can basically, and I don't mean like you're compressing a nerve and disabling. I'm just saying you can actually breathe yourself into really almost turning off the sensation in the leg, not for very long, but it is a weird feeling. It's not numbness, it's not pain, it's something else. And when you do that, you are in a vulnerable position. Now, my experience, the way I get out of that is, after this, I simply just bend the leg, and that kind of resets it. So it doesn't take long, it doesn't take much, but you can definitely breathe your way into a place where you don't notice pain, and then you can bruise your heel because you put a bunch of pressure based on physics, the way I was going into the side splits, and then all of a sudden, you bruised your heel. And that's why, now, I've stopped doing the side splits for like 15, 20 minutes at a time, because I think that's what did it. Pardon me, Chester, didn't want to get you there. Now, if you want to up the stretch in the calf muscle, watch what I'm doing with my left hand on my right foot, just gently. I'm not even pulling my toes back. What I've done is my toes are bending a little bit, and I'm putting my hand straight down. I'm not pressing, just the weight of the hand. And I can feel that a little bit more in the calf, but I can also feel it in the bottom part of the hamstring, right side, both for both observations. So if you want to increase something, it's almost like you use the ball of your foot. So if I hold my foot and push my foot very gently, I can feel the stretch just a little bit differently. But again, gentle. Micro movements are your friend. And it sure seems to me that I should be able to nearly kick this high. But I think it's a growing thing at this point. Oh my. So I'm going to talk about, just for a second, progress. I haven't actively measured progress on this particular pose. I mean, I probably could go back and look at videos and such, but I know for certain that this is something I haven't done in long form for very long, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. So let's say most 2 years. Probably not that long. And I know for certain that when I started doing this, I could not get my chest to my leg. My chest is down below my leg. My knee's at my ear, right? So, this is an example of, I'm here now. When I started, this would be considered a deep stretch. So, in fact, it was coming out perfect. Oh, man.
doesn't look like much, but that was really deep internal work. I did a bunch, a lot there. I'm still going to do the reverse. Is this called Johnny Shoestrasser or something like that? I don't remember my yoga terms at all. It's been too long. Oh, this side is very tight. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do my last pose, but I'm going to tell you what my last pose is. I'm about to go to bed. I do this every night before going to bed. And this is a great stretch you can do anytime. So I've done butterfly, legs together, forward fold. So fancy term, supine butterfly on your back. Okay, so butterfly on your back. Now, you might use a strap so that your feet don't slide. I'm not going to worry about that, because here's what I do. I'm going to bed. I lay on my back, and then I allow my knees to splail, like so. And then I just let my feet slide. Stay like this for like 5 minutes. Now, I'll have a comforter on my knees, so there'll be just a little bit of pressure. But after several minutes, my knees will eventually get almost to the ground. And I'm getting a nice groin stretcher. So this is the last stretch of the night. And I'm going to go to bed to do it, so I'm not going to record it. Good night. I don't think I can get my head on the ground. Okay, let's see if I can do this. This is essentially a flattened out baby. Here's baby. This is baby. This is asymmetrical baby, right side, left side. And so this seems like his baby got flattened. I can't hold that. I mean, I can hold this for a while, but actually, two straps won't do that. Anyway, I'm going to bed, Chester. You heard it verse. You heard it here first. Astrocytic, calcium, fluctuation, variability. That is the health trend for this year.